The bottleneck of trapped inertia. Water. A big stream of flowy water. Energy. Water is water. It's actually raining right now. It goes into the stream that the Creator made, and then man put a dam on it to harness its energy and its benefits. And then these bottles that ignorant people or careless people, maybe it was even a mistake, ended up here and the bottleneck. Of that energy point right there, stuck. Damn, all that glitters ain't gold. This comes to my mind. You can't get gold if you haven't accepted your pennies. What if you are gold and you know you're gold and you're water? Somebody stuck a dam to harness your power and your abilities. And as you want to float along, cleanse yourself, you get stuck in the gravity of things. Once in a while, they got to come and remove those because they will stay stuck. They will stay stuck, and the fact that it's water and its element, because of the element that it is, it's going to behave like that. And because of the nature of the dam, that's what you get, right? This is my problem. For a long time, I was thinking, it's me. Now, at the point where I am now, it's like a post-traumatic stress disorder for real, which I already had. This is like years later. I'm not one to really try to claim disorders, but I'm just acknowledging them to work on them as I have all these years that I have been systematically attacked, undermined, demeaned, secretly. So if it looks like I'm just lazy and I think that I want handouts and all this other crap, no, it's not that at all. I'm quite angry right now at this point where I'm supposed to be in the systematic torture that I've been going through. That I can finally say, yeah, it's not excuses, Regina. These are things that are really happening on the planet. There are really people undermining you and throwing wrenches in your stuff. What if every time you went to get up and grab that penny or appreciate the things that you did have, you got kicked back down every single time by some hidden hand? And the funny part is they use our nature and our ignorance against each other. So the point is to have people watching your downtime when you're trying to regroup and figure out what the heck. When you're trying to figure out if you even want to survive this. You're tired of surviving. You just wanted to live. And all your efforts had a wrench thrown in them. And you know about universal law and people and stuff. You just can't figure out what the heck. And then you realize you were actually shown by spirit that there was a hidden hand and tampering to your stuff. And so they have other people watching you to determine your worth. But it's during the time when you're trying to regroup, when you're just trying to survive and keep your mind. You may be in bed all day. or unable to collect your thoughts and put your things together. I realized, why haven't I got so many things, so many projects that I have sitting there in an almost finished state or in a process of working on them? So many things. I could fill a store if I only had a little help or a little reprieve from the daily survival that I've had to go through just to keep my mind together. And I still try to welcome people with a smile. I just do what I can with what I have. And I add to it in the way that I can. In no way am I saying that I'm perfect. But I know for darn sure that those people that are part of the gang stalking program and the government gang silent stalking program, they shouldn't be able to say anything or speak in a negative way toward me. If the reason you think you're watching me is to assess my character and whether I should have or should not have, or who I was versus who I am now, first of all, you didn't sit down and have a conversation with me and ask me anything. I noticed people making side comments. They didn't sit down and talk with me as a person. And then some people are allowed a bird's eye view into my life where they judge the pieces that they see, whether it's a hidden camera or an old file or a Facebook post. Or perhaps you were assigned to my case 20, 30 years ago and been gang stalking me. I don't know. But you don't have a right to judge me, because the very nature of the job that you have takes you out of the ranking to judge me at all. So I've been overcoming the voice to skull technology that did heavy damage, putting me in a very degrading lifestyle years ago. And the biggest part of it is it was against my own freaking nature. Now, anyway, I got the answers that I wanted, but now I still don't know what to do about it. And as I reach out for assistance, this program is always tweaked, to make it look like you're at fault and to use the idiosyncrasies or the perception of those watching you who would assist, possibly, I don't know, or even just for a conversation or a real freaking friendship, and not one that is tainted. Can you imagine waking up every day and not knowing who you can trust and who you can't trust anymore? The only thing you can do is trust your human design. And that's how you get to know yourself, to know. Spirits, I have to listen to spirit because they don't lie to me. I posted a post about a gravestone that said Monroe on it. I mean, terrifying, excruciating pain, mentally, physically, and spiritually, for years, trying to figure this thing out, thinking that it was me and I was just a degenerate. I worked really hard on myself so that I wouldn't pass those things on to my children, so that I could be a better person. I just needed them to love me. If I could have one thing in the world, that would be the respect and the love of my children, and not to inflict pain upon them as had been done to me as an incest survivor and a survivor of abuse and pedophilia from others that were around my home, my mother. I grew up really messed up, just in a survival mode. I spent a lot of time trying to toss off afflictions, family curses and things like that. That's what we call them in church, I know I'm in hell because this really hurts. I'm well aware of universal law. I'm well aware of human behavior. I am a psych major, so that is one of the things that I studied, was psychology, and human behavior is a specialty of mine. making sure that I was actually checking my behavior and not just gassing myself up to make excuses, as that is one of the things that is a protocol that people with backgrounds like mine have had. That's one of the things that a therapist will look for, is you making excuses and trying to defeat your own therapy. So I had to make sure I wasn't doing that, right? Stuff still wasn't turning out, so I didn't know about voice-to-skull technology at the time, or that stalkers could reinforce messages, internal messages that you already have about yourself. So if I'm looking to give myself positive affirmations and to pick myself up, and somebody comes along, or people come along all day long, and they do contrary measures to counteract that, and they're using your hidden hand to say things and do things and stop you from opportunities. How is it that I know, using universal law, laws of attraction, how would I know that that stuff is being deferred? And a lot of money and a lot of manpower being put into it. And they use a tier method where the people that are doing it don't even know which part they're playing in it. While you're making a simple comment at somebody's local gym, I don't know, to get you out of trouble or to make money, or maybe it's prestige. Maybe you think you're saving the world by messing with that one particular person. Maybe you just don't like them. I don't know. Maybe they voice-to-skull technology you, and every time you see that person, you just go off and say certain things. It's not. It got to the point where it wasn't for me to keep trying to overanalyze what is exactly that one particular person was doing. That's insane alone every time you leave the house, or even when things happen in your house. You know. Okay, so you think that maybe you're just losing your mind, making excuses. It even reinforces that you're a degenerate even more. I'm making excuses. Things aren't going right, and they said that I'm responsible for my own welfare. There is no help, and there, you know, the universal laws and stuff. So you use all that, you do all that, and stuff still is not working out. But you don't see the deferment. You don't see, I mean, you hear the voice-to-skull technology, but you're unaware what it is. You're told you're schizophrenic and that you're sick, you're twisted, that these voices are pointless, useless to you. They're demonic even. You don't know the difference between your own voice-to-skull technology and the voices of your ancestors or spirit in general. But I do now. And then once you find all that stuff out, you still continue to put one foot in front of the other. You're learning all kinds of stuff, part of the conscious community. Thank goodness I learned about, the tactics that the government is using, or I would have been buried under that mental hospital by now. There's things that I'm still trying to find out. They leave a pattern in their behavior, but you have to study the stuff in order to see it. So now that we have a pattern, and I can see my life, and you can see the interference, you can backtrack, which is the reason I think why a lot more pressure is on now for me to do the suicide thing, or for somebody, something to happen to me, the isolation is just crazy. Back to what I was saying, can you imagine trying to figure out who you can trust, listening to your internal voice, and trying to overcome the abuses that you've been through will make you, throw you off right away as far as trusting people and stuff like that. Then you go ahead and you do it anyway. And these monsters are right there. They say 1 in 3 people these days in the United States is affiliated with this program. Like I said, why one person is saying a little tiny comment, somebody else not affiliated with you is probably using a voice-to-skull technology weapon. Somebody else is frying them with some kind of high frequency. Maybe it's your General Electric refrigerator making all kinds of noises, or your smart meter. You go for a job interview, or you go for employment, and things don't work out. And your friends are looking at you who are conscious and asking you what's wrong with your defective butt. By that time, your mind is kind of fried. You do what you can. You're editing your videos, your knowledge, you're juggling your personality with your family. You do what you can to have some semblance of living, not just surviving. This thing says trying to go live. I don't even know if we are live. But I've been wanting to say those things for quite a while. I'm at a point where, you know, that juggernaut that I've talked about. My solace, my peace is knowing that I would be a lot more fantastic if I wasn't being interfered with. My life would be a lot more wonderful. And I do have explanations and visions of past life stuff and karma. But I also know that I should be free from all that now. Because I've worked really hard at being free from the negativity that I bring to the table. And I work on it every day. I'm never going to be perfect, but we can get better. And the object is to want to be the next best person I can be next to you, instead of the degenerate that I thought I was or was made into, due to these technologies and these government programs using the idiosyncrasies and the perspectives of us against each other. I'm literally watching myself be killed in front of people. It's like, I guess it is the modern witch burning. And it's quite strange to have visions and memories of stuff you did in other lives while you're in this one and crazy stuff is going on. It's really freaky. And then who you talk to about it? Like, these conversations are not the kind of things that you're going to find walking around every day. So, and then when you go to try to find, when you go to work, when you work on finding the communities to access the communities to ground yourself and your spirituality and learn about these things so that they're not all over the place and so whimsical, so that you can find the patterns, that's when they come in and mess with you, because you're not supposed to really be knowing about this stuff. Not in this culture. So, what I was waiting for was people that I knew 20, 30 years ago. I don't know, maybe to pop up and start putting things together. I don't know what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for a lot of different pieces to snap together. More vindication. I would love to have a way to protect myself and get myself out of this situation. It's really weird being in this bubble. You're in a prison, but you can walk around. Like, it's invisible to everybody else except for those that are doing it. And then even those that are doing it only have certain aspects of it that they do. So, I don't know how much of this was actually recorded. I'm gonna go home now. I was feeling really, 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 really bad today. I was feeling so insufficient. And I remember that feeling, that I worked on so hard, feeling insufficient. From the time I was like 18. I'm 49 now. I used to feel insufficient about what I couldn't do, what I didn't accomplish, what I didn't have in me compared to what I thought someone else had, morally or financially. the physical things that depict in our society, the ideal life, the holistic life, the clean life, the life worthwhile, all that stuff. I was just trying to get myself out of a hole in my freaking mind. And these people had lives, and I wanted some. I wanted a life too. I worked really, 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 really hard at not just being a jerk next to the person, because I grew up with that and it hurt so freaking bad. So like, that was my journey, to walk away from that stuff. And I'm still walking away from that stuff. I thought that being an incest survivor and recovering from mental illness and drug addiction was the biggest things that I would have to overcome in my life. And I did. Became a mom, a Sunday school teacher, went to college. Shoot, I jumped back into life and joined the community, right? Best way I can. I could. And it still wasn't working out. And that's why I went deeper into the research and stuff. And that's why also, yeah, I'm not the only one. This is my story, but it's also his story and her story too. There are other people like me. So, if I were you, I would look into gang stalking, voice to skull technology, social engineering, you know, and things like that. And this was really hard. I felt very vulnerable. But I know that this is for those people like myself. Or maybe somebody got out. I don't know. If you have any way that I would be able to combat the situation, I would really appreciate someone speaking to me in person. This is Regina's Rabbit Hole. Much love to you and yours.